Good afternoon, friends. Today I'm starting with this new topic of communism. You must have heard about communism earlier also. I have seen people getting confused between the two topics, two concepts of that is communism and socialism. Yes, people use it interchangeably. Some of them call communism as socialism, while socialism as communism, but they are actually two different concepts. Let us study in detail what communism is. So, communism is an ideology, it is philosophy, it is economic and political system. It is an ideology that talks about collective ownership, that talks about everything should be in the hands of people and not any group or class. This ideology advocates abolition of private property, doesn't support private property. It talks about classless society, it talks about moneyless society, it talks about stateless society. It says everything should be in the hands of people and not in the hands of any group or a class. It talks about collective ownership, that is everything should belongs to everyone. Like for example, if there is a car, factories, industries, hospitals, schools, it should not belong to any one particular class. It should not belong to any one particular group, but it belongs to everyone. So everything belongs to everyone. That's what communism stands for. It talks about a society where there is no government. It talks about society where there is no money. It talks about society where everything belongs to everyone. It doesn't support private property. So this ideology, it actually sounds idealistic. It is not actually practical. But this is an ideology. See, have a look. These are the characteristics of communism. It talks about classless society, divisionless society. Today we see in our society there are divisions, right? There is upper class, lower middle class, and lower class. But it stands for classless society. It it holds that the society should be classless, divisionless. There should be no division in the society, no rich, no poor, no gap. It talks about there should be no government in the society. But can we imagine our country, our society without government? No. So it is actually not practical. It talks about no money based economy. It says there should be no money. So what if it says it's actually not practical? We cannot imagine our society, our country without money. So let us see in great detail what the communism actually talks about. So now my next slide, it says, does communist state exist in true sense? Now there are so many countries like China, North Korea that claim itself as a communist state, but the question arises, is it? China and North Korea, is it a communist state? Because these countries, they have their own government. But communism, it talks about a society without the government. So how they can call themselves as a communist state? Because communism doesn't support government. It says the society should be without government. So how they can claim themselves as a communist state? So actually China, North Korea and other countries that claim themselves as a communist state, they are actually a socialist state and not the communist state. In the history of modern world, there has never been a communist state, and still it is. No states are actually communist, they are actually socialist. So communism and socialism are two different concepts. Socialism talks about that everything should be in the hands of government, while communism talks about collective ownership, everything belongs to everyone and there is no government. So these two are the different concepts, but both of them stands for workers. Uh, both of them actually originate from the desire to limit workers' exploitation and eliminate the influence of economic class in the society. So, for the first time, Karl Marx, a German philosopher, historian, economist, he was the one who started writing about the ideology of communism, what the communism stands for, what is it. So he started writing it about this idea, about this ideology in his book Communist Manifesto in the year 1848. So, whatever he wrote about communism, whatever his ideas was with regard to society, everything it came to be known as Marxism. So his thoughts, his ideology is known as Marxism, and the people who follow his ideas, his theories, they are known as Marxist. So whatever Karl Marx wrote in his book, it was there in his book. It was actually not practical, but for the first time, his thoughts were used by Lenin and Stalin. They were the one who implemented his thoughts, but they did not implement it exactly how the Karl Marx said, but they mixed their own ideas with the thoughts of Karl Marx and they implemented it in their countries in a new form. Okay, Lenin and Stalin, they were the rulers of USSR. So they implemented the ideology of Karl Marx but mixed it with their own ideology. They did not implement it in communism in its true form, because communism stands for collective ownership and abolition of private property, and it doesn't support the existence of government. So Lenin, Stalin, they implemented the ideas, the ideology of Karl Marx, but it was not in a true form. We will see the highlights of Marxism and thoughts of Marxism, whatever he said about the society, in our next class. I hope you have understood it.